So I was invited to speak and honored to be invited. Also, I'm making a documentary about Holocaust survivors and their descendants against the genocide. And Stephen Kaposh is one of the characters we're following around. He's a survivor. Haim is one of the characters we're following around. He's the son of survivors. And they both connect the Holocaust to never again for anyone, as opposed to what Israel is saying, which is never again just for Jews. And in the name of never again, we're going to genocide other people, which is a betrayal of the legacy and the lesson of the Holocaust, which is never again for anyone. I think it's a really important moment for the world to see that there are Jews who reject Zionism, that Israel doesn't speak for all Jews, that Zionism, I would argue, obviously, is not good for Jews. I mean, primarily it harms Palestinians, but it also happens to not be good for Jews. I think that it's helpful for the pro-Palestine movement to have Jews saying that anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, because I think that helps destigmatize anti-Zionism. I said this on the panel, it's a bit uncomfortable because Jewish voices shouldn't be more valuable than Palestinian voices, and they're not more valuable. They do have credibility for some people that non-Jewish voices don't, and that is problematic. But I want to take it. We need to take advantage. Given that reality, we have to use our Jewish privilege to speak out in solidarity with Palestinians. And the more Jews speak out, the harder it is to pretend and lie that. The harder it is to perpetuate the lie that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. The other thing I would say, in terms of the Jewish angle, is that the claim that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism is actually anti-Semitic in itself, because it conflates being Jewish with being Zionist, as if Jews are this monolith. And given that Israel is currently live streaming a genocide, what could be more anti-Semitic than claiming that's being done in our name for our safety, or claiming that we all support it? So it's an especially important time to do that. I would say for everyone involved. Well, Israel has an apartheid system, and it also does have does not have, like, you can't marry, Jews and Muslims can't get married by the state. Jews and Christians can't either. So, I mean, there are theocratic tendencies, and I think they're increasing over time. They've been increasing. We have, the thing I would say about Zionism is that there's a range. You have fundamentalists who are Zionists, you have Christian fundamentalists, Jewish fundamentalists, but you also do have secular Zionists who are just as bad as the religious ones. I think sometimes we assume that the religious ones are worse, but I think it's kind of, we have to be equal opportunity about the evils of Zionism, and I do consider an evil. What's certain is that the history of Zionism, how it was done, is criminal and evil. That's right. So a lot of people like to claim, Israel and Israel supporters like to claim that the conflict, right, which is an occupation and now a genocide, is because of religious differences, that Muslims and Jews just never got along. And there was a great panel on convivencia and coexistence. And there is a long history, rich history of coexistence of Muslims, Christians, and Jews. And of course, Palestinians are not all Muslim, but the narrative is that they are, and the narrative is that they hate the Jews because they're anti-Semites, and the narrative is that the people can't get along because of religion. Of course, that's not true at all, and this has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with settler colonialism and imperialism.